Hello, this is Weekend File on the NTA. We are live in Abuja. Thanks for joining us. Transboundary plant pest and diseases affect food crops, causing significant losses to farmers and threatening food security. This is a global phenomenon, though, as the spread of transboundary plant pests and diseases has increased dramatically in recent years. Globalization, trade and climate change, as well as reduced resilience in production systems due to decades of agricultural intensification, have all played a part. Transboundary plant pests and diseases can easily spread to several countries and reach epidemic proportions. Outbreaks and upsurges can cause huge losses to crops and pastures, threatening the livelihoods of vulnerable farmers and the food and nutrition security of millions at a time. Now, locusts, armyworms, fruit flies, banana diseases, cassava diseases, and wheat rust are among the destructive transboundary plant pests and diseases. In our climate, pests such as koala birds, grasshoppers, sissy flies, armyworms, locusts, rodents, and some others readily account for yearly loss of crops in parts of the country. In the light of this, the federal and some state governments have been mapping out huge budgets in applying several strategies that can mitigate the disaster. These range from developing some resistant plant species to the usage of pesticides in some cases, aerial spray and water treatments in affected areas. Farmers themselves also apply their own methods peculiar to their environments. All these and others are to whittle the effect of trans-border pests and diseases, as well as achieve high food production in the land. We shall expand the conversation tonight on Weekend File as we bring you situation reports from various zones plus studio session with Chief Veterinary Officer of the Federation, Dr. Orlando Alabi. I am Kene Ima Abudike. The news first. Let's start on health matters as Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says Nigeria has all it takes to become a place of choice for medical tourists of developed countries. The Vice President stated this at the inauguration of a healthcare facility in Lagos. State House correspondent Chide Onifade reports.
The facility, known as Duchess International Hospital, is located in the heart of Ikeja in Lagos, and it is described as a state-of-the-art 100-bed hospital delivering primary, secondary, and tertiary healthcare services across a variety of specialists and subspecialty areas.
Today is one of those days that one is extra proud being a Nigerian. It's one of those days when your belief is affirmed that this is a country of world-class talent, world-class ideas, and world-class execution.
As explained, the facility will provide good health care services affordable to Nigerians.
We have all that it takes to become the place of choice for even medical tourists from developed countries looking to jump long queues for specialized procedures at home, or simply shopping for more affordable fees for first-class healthcare. Second, we have by far the largest number of middle to low-income communities and individuals in sub-Saharan Africa at least, who require affordable, high-quality healthcare. So there is a sound business case here. But again, only serious private sector investment in high-quality healthcare services, offering top compensation for its personnel, could possibly create an attractive proposition to reverse the trend.
60% of medical tourism abroad, as experts say, is to access treatment in 4 key specialties, and these are cancer treatment, orthopedics, nephrology, including dialysis and cardiology.
It requires that we pay attention to clinical expertise. It requires that we make available the very best technology and treatments.
One of the major problems of healthcare in Nigeria is inadequate funding, provided for both the public and the private sector. This needs to be addressed.
Nigeria parades some of the best in the world. We need to encourage everybody come back home.
much is happening in the health sector in this country. One of them is the public-private partnership, and the result of which is this world-class hospital. In Lagos, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
All right, Bayes University Hospital has been inaugurated in Abuja. The inauguration was performed by the Minister of Special Duties, George Akume, who represented President Muhammadu Buhari, and flanked by the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, as part of activities marking the 7th and 8th combined convocation of Bayes University, Abuja. The hospital, equipped with modern facilities, is regarded as the largest private hospital in Africa and will facilitate the training of Bayes University medical students. Kelvin Ehunaye reports that 719 graduates received various categories of degrees at a convocation where the Chancellor Mohammed Namadi Sambo and the Pro-Chancellor Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed admonished them to exhibit the core values of the university to be world champions.
To be here and now, it will require the fullest support of all stakeholders to enlist Bayes among the global best. And by Allah's grace, we're on our way. We had a dream that is coming true. We made a call that was answered, and we arranged a venue that was filled.
Two eminent Nigerians also received honorary doctorate degrees at events attended by dignitaries from across the country and parents of the graduates. In security, the air component of the Nigerian Air Force under Operation Hadinkai has destroyed several terrorist elements and their boats in continued military onslaught against insurgents hiding on islands and localities around Lake Chad. This was achieved following credible intelligence where about 20 boats with suspected Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists were converging for a meeting on an island around Lake Chad and at Malam Faturi. 3 NAV aircrafts under Operation Hadinkai were scrambled to carry out strikes on the target, consisting about 20 boats with 5 to 7 suspected terrorists in each boat. The Oyo Medium Security Custodial Center in Oyo State, popularly known as Abolongo, was attacked by yet-to-be-identified gunmen at about 9:30 in the evening of Friday, 22nd October 2021. A total of 262 of the escapees have been recaptured, leaving 575 at large. The Oyo State Custodial Center, which was established in 2007 with a capacity of 160 inmates, had a total population of 907 inmates at the time of attack. Correspondent Adekule Adebayo gives us an update.
The number of the inmates that escaped after the attack is yet to be confirmed, as the inventory is still being taken. It was, however, believed that most of the inmates took advantage of the attack to escape from the facility. Oyo State Controller of the Nigerian Correctional Service, Ailewon Noel, while describing the incident as unfortunate, confirmed that a number of the fleeing inmates have been arrested.
I just got a distress call from the officer in charge yesterday night at about 10:15 that some men of the underworld came to attack the custodial center in Abolongo. And they came in their large numbers and with weapons and dynamite. I've been able to network with other security agencies. As you can see, they're all here on ground. Since last night, they've been on ground and we've been doing work together in synergy in ensuring that we capture all the inmates that are at large.
They also confirmed that security men are already on the trail of the bandits who were the masterminds of the attack. In Oyo, Adekunle Adebayo, NTA News.
To transportation now, train services have resumed today on the Abuja-Kaduna rail line barely 48 hours after its suspension following Wednesday's attack. Oyinaya Kalwaka was at Idu Station, Abuja, as the train departs for the Rigasa Station in Kaduna.
Impressive number of passengers at the Edo station after days of train suspension due to the attack. Passengers are excited and eager to be back on board the train.
I'm very happy to be kind. I do travel most of the weekends, but we thank God because the train is back to its normal track.
Very happy about it. And so we hope that and pray what happened the last time shouldn't repeat itself.
Very happy for the resumption of the train because our mind is much at rest by following the trend and following the route.
I still want to assure the general public that the track has been restored and our normal operations have started.
As the train resumes operation, federal government has deployed 24-hour security patrol on the route. Oyinaya Kaloka, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Achari Maxwell, who was also at the Regasa station in Kaduna, gives us a situation report.
A sigh of relief for passengers. The trains are back on track along the Kaduna-Abuja corridor.
These train services, it made us feel very happy. Yes, going through it, we feel safe.
The train service is in the meantime only for return trips.
It should be especially a military coach that will ply the road before the train.
At every point there should be sensors, and I think it will help because if anyone is malfunctioning or is being tampered with, it will alert them. To alert the general control room.
Minister of Transportation Chibuke Amechi in a statement assured Nigerians of improved security on the rail tracks.
It's not only the government that should be involved in the fight against these security problems. Everybody should be involved.
We should make the people aware that this is not going to help anybody. If we try to destroy the rail services, that means we're trying to bring the whole nation to its knees, and it's not going to help anybody.
This is the first train to depart the Regasa train station since the suspension of services along the Kaduna-Abuja axis. It is expected at Kubwa, and Idu is terminal destination, safe and sound in Kaduna. Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
Media practitioners under the umbrella body of broadcasting organizations of Nigeria have agreed to use their platforms in promoting the unity of the nation. This was at the official swearing-in of the leadership of the organization in Abuja. Adebola Bruscle Sunday reports.
Was a convergence of who is who in the media industry in Nigeria to witness the induction and swearing-in ceremony of the new leadership of the broadcasting organizations of Nigeria. One after another, they took to the podium to make inputs and charge the new leaders on the need for media practitioners to be professional and constantly observe ethics of their calling.
The radio in your car and the things that are coming from the station, you can't believe that such things will be on the airwaves.
At this time in Nigeria, there's nobody who can predict 2023.
Kano State Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, who observed the election in Kano, commended the process.
We have a vital role to play in managing all communications in the public domain in the interest of peace and national development.
We will continue to partner with media houses and ensure that we have a healthy business environment in the advertising industry.
Your contribution to the transition from analog to digital terrestrial television broadcasting is laudable.
For the incoming leadership of BON, please ensure that we take to logical conclusion the issue of the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters.
I shall discharge my duties as chairman.
And then comes the 14th chairman of BON, John Ugbe, who is the first chairman from the cable and pay TV sectoral group.
We wish to restate our commitment to sourcing for training opportunities for BON members to deepen their technical knowledge and competent skills.
The role of the Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad in BON, was commended by the forum. John Ugbe and the Vice Chairman, Mansour Liman, who is the Director General, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, are to serve in the leadership capacity for a period of 2 years. Adebola Bruscle Sunday, NTA News.
Now, Nigerian youths have been challenged to change their orientation by engaging in productive initiatives for nation building. This was the focus at the APC Progressive Youth Movement Southwest Town Hall meeting held in Ado Ekiti with the theme Ready to Lead Now or Never. Ayodeji Ogunshakin reports.
It was a convergence of youth from across the state where issues about the present and future were in focus as various speakers enumerated the various unproductive attitudes which have become the order of the day among youth over the years, which are counterproductive.
It's time for the Nigerian youth to get up because we have the best amongst ourselves, and that is the only reason why we must get up.
Few youth were challenged to evolve shift in paradigm by taking their destinies in their own hands and move from the era of social media to polling units.
Before you think about who your next president is, you must be able to ask yourself, are you the kind of that president within the confines of your own area?
I believe young people can actually accomplish this. It's an easy task, but we must work hard to make sure that young people are on the same page.
You make noise, riot to vandalize you, and then everybody go back home. Is that all? Let's come to common terms and discuss what's different between us.
Your strength is not in going for a riot, destroying and complaining online every day. Your strength is in harnessing your strength of numbers.
At an interactive session, the youth were challenged to use their useful strength in contributing to nation building and discourage destructive tendencies that could hamper the development achieved by President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration for the good of all. From Ado Ekiti, Ayodeji Ogunshakin, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates Emir of Zuru Sani Sami on his 78th birthday. The president rejoices with the retired general, war veteran, businessman, and now a community leader on many successes, including prolonged dedication to nation building. As the Emir of Zuru turns 78, the president notes his patriotism, loyalty, and commitment, and contributions at every turn of Nigeria's history, always taking the side of fairness, goodness, and honor. President Buhari prays that Almighty God will bless the royal father with longer life and good health. You're watching Weekend File on the NTA Network Service. Do stay with us. Let's go on a commercial break. Thank you for staying with us. West African nations have been alerted over possible invasion of desert locusts that are capable of destroying farmlands and other green vegetation. It is in the light of this that the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations has organized a capacity-building workshop for officers in charge of pest control in Nigeria on ways to control the ravaging locusts. Musa Baba Aliyu has the details.
Desert locusts are rated as the most destructive migratory pests in the world. They move in swarms, eating any kind of plant or grass in their path. The pests are at present in the Horn of Africa, in countries such as Ethiopia, Kenya, Sudan, and Eritrea.
In 5-6 days, they can cross country to countries, and the movement is seasonal movement. So they breed in the summer in area and in the winter in another area, and they move between the areas looking for mainly rain and vegetation.
The species of the locust is yet to be in West Africa. However, with the pattern of movement covering close to 200 kilometers a day, fears are being entertained that the pest would find its way to the region.
The prediction we got from FAO was that this region could be invaded through Sudan and then coming through in the region through Chad and Mauritania, which are the frontline countries within the region. So right now we are putting in place some measures to anticipate, because once those pests are here, the management is very difficult.
Nigeria has been already put on alert, just as ECOWAS and FAO train pest control officers on methods of identifying and managing the pests.
Migratory, in fact, the territory which they breed is so large that you cannot even really affect control at that point. And the control again is very difficult because they are moving in millions, such that if they invade a country or a territory, in a space of about 1 hour, you can be sure that you can lose the whole of your green vegetation. Everything green goes down.
There are already cases of locust invasion of plantations in some parts of the country. Experts say the destruction by desert locusts is more devastating than the one being experienced in the country presently. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Pests, queller birds and locusts pose a great challenge to farmers in Sokoto State. In this report, Shehu Mohammed takes a look at the menace and efforts by governments in Sokoto and Kebbi states to overcome it.
Sokoto State is one of the places where cereal crops like rice, millet, guinea corn, maize are massively produced. The massive production of the cereal crops enhances the nation's food security and gross domestic products, GDP. However, queller birds, locusts, and other pests threaten the food production. In June this year, federal government in collaboration with Sokoto State government had carried out an aerial spray in Shagari, Tureta, and Sinami local government areas. Overseer of Sokoto's Ministry of Agriculture, Professor Abdulkadir Usman Junaidu said efforts are on to carry out aerial spray to neutralize the queller birds who mostly come from neighboring countries.
The government has initially embarked on a survey whereby about 40 roosting and nesting sites of queller birds across 16 local governments were carried out. We have also written to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture on the need to do more spray, that is to have more hours of spray as well as more chemicals.
A cross-section of farmers in Sokoto appealed to government to urgently do the needful towards combating the queller birds, locusts, and other pests ravaging crops. And in Kebbi State, Bagudo, Shanga, Ngaski, Yauri, Gwandu, and Suru local governments have been affected by queller birds.
The Kebbi State is a frontline state because we share border with two neighboring countries. These are Niger and Benin Republic. And this coincides with the migratory routes of these birds. So that's how we have incidents every year.
As harvest had commenced in earnest, farmers are hopeful that government will soon commence the aerial spray against queller birds to save the crops. In Sokoto, Shehu Muhammad Dati.
Encouraging farmers to use the right seedlings and educating them on the best agricultural practices are some of the measures adopted to stop birds and worms from destroying rice and cassava and farms in Ebonyi State. Kanayo Okoro reports on how this was achieved.
Attack of pests, birds, and worms have become a threatening issue confronting food security not just in Ebonyi State but also in some states of the Federation. But since the inception of the present administration in 2015, adequate enlightenment has been carried out in encouraging farmers not only to apply appropriate farming techniques. Good inputs were also given free of charge to overcome challenge of pests, birds, and worms in Ebonyi State.
It's not a big threat to us this year because I did early planting and then I was lucky. I applied all the principles used in controlling the dangerous pests in the rice farm. One of them is to choose a variety that doesn't yield to its attack.
I've gone around the 13 local government areas, educating them on the best practices. What we have done in accordance with the question that we have provided pest control. We have provided good fertilizer because another thing that can introduce pests to our farm is bad seed and bad fertilizer.
Because of the problem associated with rice production, that of pests, flood, drought, and so on, all our rice farmers this season have been insured by the National Agric Insurance Company.
They opine that mechanization of agriculture will be more effective if farmers imbibe those techniques that will help tackle pest invasion for food sufficiency. In Abakaliki, Kana Yokoro, NTA News.
And joining us in the studio is the Chief Veterinary Officer of the Federation, Dr. Orlando Alabi. You're welcome to Weekend Farm.
Thank you for inviting me.
Let's start on a general scale. How is the Ministry of Agriculture responding to plant pests and their diseases in our country at the moment?
Okay, thank you very much. Just like you projected, these transboundary pests, as we refer to, these are pests that don't really respect political boundaries. They can move across borders. And considering the socio-economic importance of this pest, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture has been supporting the states in addressing this challenge. And just because of low budgetary provision, last year, Mr. President, through the Federal Executive Council, approved the sum of 2.8 billion for us to intervene. And what we have been able to do so far, we have been able to strengthen our early warning system and also strengthen our response to outbreak of this transboundary pest. We have increased the number of surveys we carry out along the frontline states to identify the roosting and nesting sites of these quilla birds. We also do conduct surveys for grasshopper egg pods, and we also do survey for grasshopper nymphal stages of the grasshopper. And you know, like I said, it's cross-border. We cannot control it alone. So we have also strengthened our cross-border collaboration with our neighboring country. We have the Nigeria Joint Commission of Pest Control Experts, where we meet and exchange information about situation of this pest and their movement across, the two countries. Again, we have been able to increase, because the control operation we are doing now, because of the vast area that is involved, is area operation using aircraft dusting. And, it's something that is beyond an individual farmer. So the federal government provides this support to the states. We normally do two operations in a year, the wet and the dry season. So with the support we got from the additional support we got from the federal government, that is the Special Intervention Fund approved by the federal government, we're able to procure more flight hours, to cover more ground. We also procure over 99,000 assorted pesticides to address this challenge. We, apart from area control, we also do ground operation. We also procured 14 four-wheel vehicles that are fitted with sprayers to do ground operations.
Now, tell us more about this aerial spray. You did say that you normally do it twice in a year.
Yes.
During the wet and the dry season.
Yes.
Okay, let's assume that you've done that of the wet season.
Yes.
Have you been able to evaluate and monitor its successes?
Yeah, for every operation we carry out, we normally do what we call impact assessment after each operation that we carry out. Apart from the environmental impact assessment and the successes achieved, we also engage the communities, sensitize them, to tell them the dangers of, because we discovered that in some communities, they do consume these birds after operation. So we also educate them on the dangers of consuming those birds.
Okay, we're talking with Dr. Orlando Alabi, Chief Veterinary Officer of the Federation, on Weekend File tonight. Let's quickly go for a break. When we return, we shall talk some more on this topic. Stay with us. We still have Dr. Orlando Alabi, Chief Veterinary Officer of the Federation, in the studio with us. Before the break, Dr. Alabi, we were discussing about the area spray, which, of course, the first of his series in the of the seasons have been done. What about the dry season, the one you are supposed to do next?
No, we just concluded an operation. We just recently concluded the operation.
For the dry season?
Yes.
And how successful was that?
Yeah, from the report we got from the field, we received a letter of commendation from all the frontline states that were involved in the operation, thanking the ministry for the support.
So, which of these pests is more devastating, and in which parts of the country?
For us in Nigeria, the quilla birds is the one that is a major challenge for us in terms of transboundary pests. We are lucky, even though the desert locust is moving from the eastern part of Africa, but again, based on the FAO classification, Nigeria happened to fall in the zone they refer to as recession zone. We are not in the invasion zone now, but that does not mean that it cannot get into Nigeria, because the invasion zone is just above us. That's why I said we have put in place we have strengthened our early warning system along the frontline states, so that in case of any incursion, we can pick it early enough to respond. So for now, it is the quilla birds that is a major problem for us.
All right, it appears resistant variety crop species are almost the way to go. How is the ministry tackling that area?
Yeah, that depends on which pest we are now referring to. You know, if you are talking about the armyworm or the tomato Ebola, there it works. But when you are talking of the transboundary pest, you know, the only thing you can do is to control the invasion of this
pests.
Yes, transboundary pest. So for those other pests, for the maize, the armyworm and the tomato Ebola, there are things that the ministry is addressing through the value chain, individual value chain. And so far, we don't have any significant reports of any major...
Well, it's harvest time in most parts of the country for farmers now. Have you been able to look at what you did in terms of controlling these trans-border pests? And of course, vis-a-vis the harvest that you've seen on ground? Are you satisfied with the level of success?
Yeah, like I said, the feedback we got from the operation we just concluded has indicated that there's going to be bumper harvest this year, based on the operation that we have just concluded.
Is that objective or subjective? How because you need to also value it yourself.
In terms of quantity now, we have not been able to estimate in terms of estimate, but the feelers we got from the state where we carry out the operation, they have indicated that there's going to be bumper harvest. This is something that we have to do post harvest.
Okay. Let's talk about the interim between harvest and the next wet season. What really transpires between your ministry and those other stakeholders who actually need your services? How do you take charge of things before the next period of cultivation, in terms of looking at some of these medics before they even arrive here? What do you do, basically, even before they come?
Yeah, I was telling you about strengthening surveillance system, and then the survey. We have field officers that are in this frontline state. They go out, they identify roosting and what they call the nesting site for this transboundary pest. And they map the location, because the aircraft cannot operate without knowing the exact locations where these roosting and nesting sites are. So in between, the officers are there identifying where these roosting and nesting sites are, and collating and putting georeference location. Before the next one, we will now look at our data and say, okay, where do we have the major issues, and then we focus.
One of the reports we watched earlier on was advocating, planting in clusters, so that these remedies will accommodate large areas. But that is not very feasible, because the local farmers themselves have a way of owning their own lands. That's where they cultivate, and it's not as if there is a designated farm settlement for this large-scale, farming. So when such things occur, because the rural farmers themselves, readily come to mind, are they also part of the beneficiaries of your services?
They do. They are part of it. Like I said, you see, the strategy we adopt for different pests is different. Like for what we do, specifically what I do, is the control of transboundary pests, which majorly is by area control and ground operations. Then for the other pests that the scope is limited, they are addressed through the individual value chain, crop value chain. Like for the armyworm, I said the maize value chain, and then for the tomato Ebola, the tomato value chain.
Now, we still have cases of armyworm and tomato Ebola. How bad is the situation now?
Well, like for the tomato Ebola, the feelers I get, even based on series of awareness and training that the ministry have conducted, most farmers are aware of the season or the period where they are mostly going to have these outbreaks. So what they do now, they try as much as possible to avoid planting around that period, which is March, April.
Every year?
Yeah.
Now, enlightenment and education, and of course, updating most of these farmers is very paramount. Of course, what do you do in that regard?
We do. Like I said, for all the value chain, they organize training, education, and enlightenment for these crop-specific farmers to educate them on how to do and how to even to apply the pesticides, because these are chemicals that you have to apply it the right quantity at the right time. So they are all put through all those training and to educate them on how to go about it here.
Before we let you go, the chemicals we are talking about here, are they locally made or are they all imported?
Well, there are some that are locally made.
Those ones that are locally made.
What we do for us is, like I said, is the ministry don't produce chemical. We advertise. We do the quality control. Okay. We have our lab where we do our quality checks.
Good.
So for every chemical that is supplied for operation, we subject it to laboratory quality testing to be sure that we have the right chemical to use.
For instance, now in Nigeria, where are the laboratories? How many?
Now our lab is in Kaduna.
In Kaduna?
Yes.
Okay. We wish you good luck. Thank you indeed for coming on Weekend File.
Thank you very much.
We'll be talking with the Chief Veterinary Officer of the Federation, Dr. Orlando Alabi. We've been checking out on the topic, trans-border pests and diseases, and of course, achieving food security in Nigeria. Let's quickly go on our final break on Weekend File tonight. Just stay with us.
Critical elements of Electoral Act, the development in party politics, and the issues of electoral guidelines is our focus on NTA Tuesday Live next week. Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. It promises to be incisive and educative. Join us.
President, Engineer, and Project Supervisor of the Second Niger Bridge Project. The Second Niger Bridge Project is a project that has been conceived for a very long time, but it has finally come to life during this present administration. This project has a lot of socio-economic benefits, and it has impacted positively on the lives of the host communities, both in Anambra State and Delta State. The people are very happy. The host communities, they partnered with us because apart from the social benefits, indigenes are also employed on this project. We can see how their lives are being improved.
This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Welcome back. The future of gymnastics in Nigeria looks bright with young talents embracing the game. Nigeria's budding gymnast and African Games gold medalist Stephanie Onizurike was at one of the events organized in Lagos to discover more talented gymnasts. And now Joe Adiku has the details.
The competition has gymnasts from level 1 to level 8 in attendance. As expected, many of them are drawing inspiration from 11-year-old African champion and National Sports Festival champion in gymnastics, Stephanie Onwuzurika, who was at the competition to motivate and encourage younger gymnasts in the country.
You have to be working hard and you have to be able to do higher elements like double back, double front, twists. If you can't do a backsman salt, you have to learn how to do it so that you can move to the next level.
Stephanie's mother and the national gymnastic coach say the medalist is also improving her routine.
I'm happy she's following her dreams. She likes gymnastics. She started early in her gymnastics, and I'm happy she's making herself proud and making her family proud and doing the country proud too.
To discover talent, to make sure gymnastics is growing, not just at the national level. We have to go from the grass. From here, they qualify for national events and represent the country hopefully.
With the level of enthusiasm on the part of the young gymnasts, stakeholders say the future of gymnastics in Nigeria is bright. In Lagos, Enojo Adiku, NTA News.
And of course, Ayodeji Makinde is standing by with more stories on sports.
Thanks, Kenneth. Welcome to sports. After a below-par performance at the Tokyo Paralympic Games where para-athletes were unable to match their performance at the Rio Paralympic Games, the FCT Para-Athletics Association is taking pragmatic steps to discover the next set of budding talents for the future. This was evident as over 40 para-athletes participated in this year's FCT Zonal Para-Athletics competition held at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, where they competed in over 6 track and field events. 5 states of the North Central, including the Federal Capital Territory, competed in the championship.
We are organizing this competition, number one, in order to encourage them wherever they are. And after the encouragement, from there we can select the best to represent the zone.
So my focus for this is let's support our determined people so that we all collectively can make a better society.
Moving on to football, the Super Falcons of Nigeria are in Accra, Ghana, ahead of the second leg of the Africa Women's Cup of Nations qualifier against the Black Queens of the country. The Super Falcons won the first leg 2-0 courtesy of strikes by Uche Nakanu. Coach Randy Waldron will be looking to qualify the record African champions for the 2022 edition of the tournament in Morocco, ahead of Ghana, who have a 2-goal deficit against Nigeria. Let's also tell you that Bayelsa United have been knocked out of the CAF Confederation Cup after they were beaten 4-0 by CS Sfaxien in Tunisia earlier this evening. Moving on to the English Premier League, matches played on Saturday saw Chelsea getting the biggest win of the day by defeating Norwich City by 7-0, with Mason Mount scoring a hat-trick in that encounter. Manchester City travelled away to beat Brighton by 4-1. In other results, Everton lost at the Goodison Park to Watford by 2-5 as Leeds United were held to a 1-1 draw at home in a match that was live on the NTA, as Southampton also played a 2-2 draw with Burnley. And that's your sports. It's back to Kenny.
Thank you very much, Ayodeji. Let's quickly tell you that President Muhammadu Buhari is scheduled to formally unveil the Nigerian Central Bank Digital Currency (CBDC), known as the e-naira, on Monday, 25th October 2021 at the State House, Abuja. The launch of the e-naira is a culmination of several years of research work by the Central Bank of Nigeria in advancing the boundaries of payment system in order to make financial transactions easier and seamless for every strata of the society. Now, let's check out tomorrow's weather.
Glad to have you join us. We expect early morning system to affect parts of Sokoto and Kebbi. We also have prospect of morning thunderstorms over southern Adamawa, Taraba, Oyo, Ogun, Lagos and Akwa Ibom, while the remaining parts of the country are going to be cloudy with spells of sunshine over the northern parts of the country. By afternoon into evening hours, we have prospect of thunderstorms over Adamawa, Taraba, Gombe, Bauchi, Kaduna, Sokoto and Kebbi. Isolated thunderstorms are also expected over the central region, as well as parts of the inland cities of the south and the coastal region. I leave you with the forecast across some selected cities.
That does it on Weekend File on the NTA tonight. Thanks indeed for watching. And of course, endeavor to join the NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. I am Kenan Ima Abudike. Do enjoy the rest of the weekend. Bye-bye.